I'm a badass motherfucker in the beginning, and up until about 7, 8 years ago, unequivocally, egotistically, I was pretty damn good. Heartbreaking, because I had done everything that I could. It's almost like shadow boxing or fighting an invisible enemy. I didn't know what it was, and I had done everything I could think of holistically, and I pride myself on being a vocalist, not a stylist. I've been fortunate enough to have sung with Pavarotti. I know how to do it. So as I knew it wasn't going well, and I thought if I just get myself back into touring shape and I go out there, maybe I'll pull the muscles back into what they need to be. It still wasn't working. It was after that 15 shows when the frustration became realization that I finally went back to the doctor that I had started to see, and he says, now we can talk about surgery. And that's when I loved him more, because he wasn't one of these cut-happy doctors. And he said, as long as you've come to terms with that you've exhausted everything that you knew how to do, we can save this. I give you no guarantees, but this is the path. And I wholeheartedly, sunk myself into it since. I'm still, in deep vocal therapy, because like I said, that was the first time I'd sung in public in nearly 2 years. But I'm doing great. The record was easy to do. The process has been steady. Would I like it to be a light switch? Yeah. I said to the doctor, like, I've been a good boy, I want to flip the switch and be done with this. It's just not how it works. So like an athlete coming back from an ACL or whatever, it just takes time. This is the way it's going to be. But yeah, the therapy is still intensive, and yet I'm confident that it gets progressively better. Everybody's different. This was a unique situation. It's not a nodule. This is something much different, where literally one of my cords was atrophying. So that was the bitch, is that, if theoretically, both of them are supposed to look like this, one of them looked like this, one of them looked like this. So the strong one was pushing the weak one around, and suddenly my inabilities were just exacerbated. Where'd that come from? I didn't understand it. But through modern medicine and an implant to bring this one back to the strength of this one, it's every day. It's sort of like doing curls with weights, and just getting them both to be the same size and to function together. So that's what it is. I got a story to tell.
I'm excited. Are we telling the truth, or are we going to lie? What are we going to do?
I gave Gotham Chopra editorial final say on everything, because this was not going to be a puff piece. That would be the worst thing to do, is just create some puff piece. And we wanted the truth to be out, because we deserve to look back on the 40 years with an eye looking ahead. Regardless of what was to come with a new record and or a tour, it's still worth reflecting on 40 years and celebrating those moments. So I gave him that opportunity and let it go. If you're not going to be great, the guy that's coming in tomorrow night is going to be better. And this isn't a career that you should take lightly. There's a million other young guys that are waiting to take your spot, and there's no guarantees in this business. You got to write that song again. You have to be able to present it live. You have to win hearts in order to win their dollar, their hard-earned dollar. And then you're asking them to stay with you for 4 decades. That's a task. You better be one of the greats, or else good luck. Craziest one that I recall in recent memory was, I was at a buddy's child's wedding, and the band wanted me to sing, and I truthfully didn't want to sing. And the trumpet player starts playing the bass line of Living on a Prayer, and I'm like, please, God, not a trumpet playing. I was like, I had to get up and sing. How could you not? But the trumpet player, I was like, oh, okay. I was a byproduct of what was the 80s. We were just that. These were my baby pictures. I love laughing at them now. I can jokingly at least say after 40 years of a career, I still have all my hair. That is a good thing. And, but I very much a product of the era I was born into, and unfortunately, changed with the times and grew up in public and, just writing my story as I go along.
Hello.
I had to do one yesterday. I wondered why, but we did one. I know, it has changed dramatically, but you got to also remember it's a big world out there. And as we were having playback sessions, for the international record companies, and the Japanese said it's still 60-40 CDs. So you have to remember international markets still play videos or sell product. It's just in America where we're now accustomed to streaming and you have to go online to fuck the video. We never had a big falling out. He quit 10 years ago. It's not that we're not in contact or anything like that, but he was choosing to, as a single dad, raise his child, and the door's always open if he wants to come up and sing a song. I mean, there's many of them that we co-wrote together. There's a great part of both of our lives. There's no animosity here. What came through in this record is joy. On my last album, our last album was released in the black hole of COVID, and it was called 2020, and it was a very topical record, and it addressed COVID and gun control and soldiers with PTSD and all of the things that are going on in that crazy time that we all lived in. And I couldn't promote it, and I couldn't tour it, and artistically it was a great time for me as a songwriter, to tell these stories. My goal with this record was to capture joy again, which, for these last few years have been difficult, whether it's coming out of that dark cloud of COVID as the world experienced or my own personal journey. With this record, I think we captured joy. That was cute to be up on the big stage for the first time in X years prior to those rehearsals, and compounded by the fact that as I was singing, I was like, it's like doing weightlifting, and you're going, wait a minute, it's not quite working right. Why isn't it working right? And I got my legs under me by the time we went on the road. I was able to dance and pout and, do all the things that I know how to do on a stage. What was lacking was the rest of it, and that's what was the turning point. The drinking age was 18, which is integral to my story, because at 16, when you could finally sneak into a bar turning 17, a responsible parent might frown upon that. But in truth, at that point, they were like, well, you're really pursuing this, and you really care enough about it, and you're working towards something. So, okay, we knew where you were. Because I'd be going to high school a mess, just groggy, because, I played every Sunday night or Tuesday night was my night. So, you're 16, 17, 18, playing in bars. I immediately realized that this was my calling. And I had no desire for higher education because my experience was playing at frat houses. So I said, this is college. But
right.
Then fortunately for me, by the time I was 21, I had a record deal. You know what I wish that we had is episode 5, because there's been so much since we shut it down. To be able to say that to you, like I woke up on Saturday without other voices in my head. That's the first time in 10 years that I can say that. That's a big deal for me. It's a big deal. I'm a badass motherfucker in the beginning, and up until about, 7-8 years ago, unequivocally, egotistically, I was pretty damn good. And I will be that good again. But how could you look on a scope and a doctor go, I don't know. These are professional ENTs going, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? And so I had to find the right guy that says, I know, and I know how to fix it. Yeah, around 2014, we had done This House Is Not For Sale. No, I'm sorry. In 2014 was the first time that I had an inkling that something wasn't right. And we had finished the What About Now tour, and that was a big tour. It was 100 shows and very successful. In 14, I really wasn't doing much. So when I started in 15, there was a lot of change going on in the band and in my personal business life. And it started to not work right. And I thought it was all psychological. And I thought it's because I hadn't used it. It was neither. So when you go to a doctor and he goes, I don't know, oftentimes people have, issues and the doctor goes, I don't know, or the doctor goes, is wrong, and everybody's had these surgeries in their life where doctors aren't God, they're just doctors. You had to find the right doctor to tell the right anecdote to the story. Yeah, that's all credit to Bruce and to Southside. From before me, in the early 70s when those guys were cutting their teeth, to the latter 70s when I first came onto that scene, and into the early 80s, there was an original music scene there. And it was supported by each other, you know, by the tribe. And that's when I realized playing other people's music was short-term success, if you will, because you'd play the bigger bar. But the only way to have a tomorrow was to start writing your own stuff. So I stopped playing other people's music when I was 18 years old. I knew then to quit my own band and learn how to write. No, I did this. Yeah, I found Gotham, and we were archiving everything that I'd had, and which was a lot, and I had no idea what a hoarder I am. And subsequently, everybody else chimed in with everything that they had. And it was going to be our 40th anniversary. And not knowing the future, it was an opportunity to mark a milestone. In great detail, I can still recall much of it, most of it, all of it. But there were some surprises too, some great surprises. I think we found 30 plus songs that were never released that are a great part of this archiving, you know, that we had no idea. There's a treasure trove of eras music that's able to be streamed now.